Alright, so let's start off by just talking about this stuff right here. As you can see, I have a few things on the table, and all of these were sent to me via a Patreon supporter, so I cannot say how much I appreciate this. Truly do appreciate it. Thank you so much. He wants to remain anonymous, so I'm not going to be giving out any names, but you know who you are, and thank you. So as you can see, we have some oil back here, and why, you're probably wondering, why would he send you oil? Well, he has seen a few of my videos, or a lot of them. I don't know how much he watches, but it's way too often that I get a car in the garage that I'm working on that has no oil in it. So he sent me these three because he said the next time I come across a car with no oil in it, that I have some new oil right here to pour in. So that's amazing. Man, that's, you know, pouring used oil in the engine it's better than nothing. We can all agree on that. But to donate all of this stuff, it means a lot. And next time I find a car with no oil in it, it's gonna get new oil. So that's great. And then he sent me some gloves. So we have 4 boxes of gloves here. As you can see, I've already opened one up. They're all large. And again, you can never go wrong with gloves. Protect your hands. Safety first, right? Just can't say enough on that. Next up, we have a set of Tecton ratchets. 3 different sizes. We have a 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4 inch. Now, I've never actually owned one of these type of ratchets where the flex head is right here on top, and they have what looks like Mercedes symbol. Some people actually call them that, the Mercedes flex head ratchets. So I'm really excited to start using these. And you know, when you got a certain flex head like this, it really just enables you to get into certain places that you can't get into with a regular flex head. So this is really neat and really cool, and the ratcheting mechanism seems to be nice and tight. It has plenty of teeth on them, and the same thing for all of them. They're just as good as quality as the next one. I've used a few Tecton tools before. I have a few in my toolbox, and really I have no problems with them. They're really affordable tools, and they seem to hold up. Next up, he sent me a battery tester because he saw the old you know what looks like a toaster, what I was using to test batteries, which honestly it works fine. But you can see this is a much smaller footprint that it takes up, and it's in a convenient little package, and it tests for a lot more things. So I'm actually looking forward to using this. I have not had a chance to use it yet, but you know, you got to step into the modern era, right? I'm using like a really outdated tool. It works well, but it is outdated, and it's kind of an old school method. So I'm really really excited to see how well this works out, and super cool right here. And I again, just thank you so much for that person that donated all of this stuff right here. Next up, we have a set of Horace T professional tools. Honestly, I don't know, I just got them off of eBay. They're very inexpensive, so I did not go all out buying the most you know, fancy tools with this. So this side with the orange handle is going to be the hex, and I like that they have the ball end on them so you could get at an angle. And the reason why I picked these up is because recently I was working on a Volkswagen, and you know, they use a lot of these hex bolts on them. So sometimes you need to come at an angle, and it just makes life a lot easier if you have the right tool when you're working on any car pretty much. But I thought this would really help, and so I was not prepared for that job that I worked on, the Volkswagen, but I went out and bought these tools. So next time I have to do that job, I will be prepared for it. And this side is pretty much the same exact thing, but it's just made for Torx instead of hex. Oh, and you could also use this side, as you can see. So it's pretty neat. Don't know how well or how long they'll last, but these type of tools, you don't put too much torque on them, so I'm expecting them to last quite some time. And that's pretty much it for it. So that's it for this one, so let's move on. Here I have the Lisle 63000. It's a fuel tank lock ring tool, and it's still brand new in the package. As you can see, I have not used it, and honestly I did not have a use for it. I was just on Amazon one day, I saw it, I came across it, and I thought, you know what, one day I'm going to need this tool. So I figure, why not just buy it? It's pretty inexpensive, and the day I actually need it, I'm going to be really happy that I decided to pick it up. Alright, so the next tool that we have up, and let me say, this is actually a different day. In fact, it's a different month. That's how much I'm slacking on this video. Ugh. Alright, so let's move on. We have the IPA Relay Bypass Switch Kit. This thing is super cool. I've used, if you've seen any of my videos, you know how much I use these things. And it could just save you a ton of time as far as diagnosing what a problem is. Here's the actual kit. As you can see, it comes with a variety of different type of relays to fit different relays, okay? And let's just say this one right here, we pull it out, and let's just say your starter relay, you pull out the starter relay, you put this in its place. You can see it has a switch right here, and you could manually turn on the starter, and it'll help you to eliminate possible problems, you know. So if we turn this switch on and the starter actually starts to crank the engine over, because I put my little jumper relay back in place where the starter belongs, and let's turn the switch on. As you can see, the starter now works. Then we could come to the conclusion, it's not definitive, but it really helps you to, you know, go ahead and say, all right, the wiring integrity is good, because when we hit the switch, the starter actually turns on, right? Besides that, there's other things it can do. As you can see, notice this wire right here, and if we look at the picture in the box, you can see they're using like an amp clamp or a current clamp, and I have one right here with me. So you would just grab your current clamp and put it around the wire. Now let's just say we're going to use this for a fuel pump, okay? So you put this on your fuel pump relay, you hit the switch, and while this thing is connected to your scope, obviously, you could actually check the condition of your fuel pump. Isn't that super cool? Super neat. Saves you a ton of time as far as trying to diagnose a problem, and I absolutely love this little kit. It's also very helpful for when you're working by yourself. Sometimes you need someone to be inside the car to, you know, turn the key while you check something, and this could help eliminate that, because really the switch is right at the relay. So it just saves you a ton of time and just makes diagnosing that much faster. So let's move on to the next tool. Alright, so next up I have a HandTech current clamp, okay? Just picked this up. Honestly, I have not used it much. I've only used it a handful of times, and so far I have not had any issues with it. Now I've been using this OTC for quite some time, and it works perfectly fine. The only thing is that you can see the opening here is pretty small for smaller wires. So I wanted something with a larger opening, and it's why I picked up this HandTech. You can see it's much larger right here. And initially I had no problem buying another like OTC that had a larger opening. The thing is, these can get quite expensive. This one comes in, I don't remember exactly, but I know I paid like less than half price of what the OTC cost me. And you know, there's definitely, you could definitely tell that it feels cheaper. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like the quality that this one has. You know, what you pay is what you get, I guess. But like I said, no problems as of right now, so I'll let you guys know how it holds up long term, and I'll let you know if it's worth buying or avoid it, because it'll be a piece of crap. So other than that, that's it for this tool, and let's move on to the next one. Now here's another tool that I almost forgot about, and it's why I'm showing it to you like this, pretty much in action. And this clip is slowed down quite a bit, so I have enough time to talk about it because it's a short clip. But this is the Astral pneumatic fluid extractor, and at the moment you can see I'm using it here to do an oil change. I'm pretty much sucking the oil out of the engine, and you could use it for so many different things, from engine oil to coolant, transmission fluid, differential fluid, brake fluid, and it just really speeds up the process. This thing has been somewhat of a game changer for me because it just makes the jobs quicker. You're a lot more efficient, and
neater because it just makes for a cleaner job. There isn't no mess that it's gonna make or anything like that. So this thing is super cool. It's like, why didn't I get this tool sooner? Think of those oil changes on cars that have full belly pans and you have to remove all those screws to get to the oil filter, to the drain bolt. You can just suck the oil right out the dipstick, especially if the filter's on top in like one of those canisters. It turns a 30-minute oil change into a 10-minute job.
Next up, we have a set of it says non-slip impact socket set, and they're basically for removing either like locks or damaged lug nuts on a vehicle. So it comes with this little tool right here, which I'm assuming is to knock out a lug nut once you remove it, because you know they tend to get jammed up inside of here. So once your lug nut's inside of here and it's like pretty much stuck, you put this in from the back side and you go ahead and hit it with your hammer to knock out that lug nut. So I hope that makes sense to you. And it's no, you know, let's see, it says max sales. So it's no real like name brand anything. It's just like off of eBay. I'm sure it's made in China. And the reason why I picked these up is because at the time that I bought these, I had just come across a situation where we did not have the correct key to remove a lug nut, and I was actually, you know, spent a lot of time. It cost me a few hours worth of time, you know, going store to store looking for an extractor that would actually work, and it just cost me way too much time. So I decided to pick up this set, you know, just in case in the future, for next time you need them, you have them. And that's the most important thing. You always want to, you know, it's better to have a tool and not need it than need it and not have it, right? So you have sizes 17, 19, 21, and 22, which are very common sizes. In fact, it's probably like 98% of sizes you're going to come across for lug nuts, if not all of them. But the reason why I like these, if we can look inside of here and look at that design, I have other bolt extractors that use the same exact design, and they seem to work very well. I'm really impressed every time I have to extract a bolt. So when I saw that they make these type of lug nut extractors, I was like, yeah, that's the type I'm gonna get, because I know they work very well on bolts and nuts. So there's much more to say about these. So let's move on to the next tool. Alright, so next up we have a tool made by CTA. It's a CV joint puller, and it just attaches to your slide hammer. You can see right there. There's pretty much nothing in the box besides actual tool and a lock nut, as you can see. So let's go ahead and get this out of here. You would attach this to your slide hammer and then put the lock nut on it to pretty much lock it in place so it doesn't move. I got a video of me using this, so I'll put it up right now. And I noticed that on that particular CV shaft I was trying to remove, there wasn't a lot of space to use this tool. So I kept trying to use it. I kept, you know, pushing to use it. And at the end of the day, I can't remember if I ended up getting out that CV shaft with the tool or if I just used other methods to get it out. So it was a real pain in the butt. At that point, I realized obviously it's not going to work in every situation. But on that particular car, I actually had to do both of the CV shafts. So when I went to the one on the right side of the car, I tried to use the tool again and it worked perfectly the very first time. The thing about the right side of the car was I had a lot more space. So it was easy to get this tool behind the CV shaft and CV axle, whatever you want to call it. And it actually worked great, and it was very fast in that example. So just keep in mind the tool does work, but it's not going to work for every, you know, every CV shaft that you come across. Other than that, I was really pleased with the tool, and it does what it says it's going to do. So let's move on to the next tool. Oh, and noticed right there it says made in Taiwan. Alright, so next up we have some gear wrench ratcheting wrenches that are also flex head. As you can see, they have the flex head on them right there. And this is a set from 10 to 19 millimeters without skipping a size, so that's really nice. You're going to see the case here is actually pretty dirty, and it's because I've been using them for quite some time. In fact, all the tools that I'm showing off today I've been using for quite some time. It just, like I said, took me a while to get this video put together. But we have a nice case here. Holds all of the wrenches. It's fairly compact. You could choose to keep the case if you like. I find that the holders right here that hold these wrenches on this side are quite tight. It's quite difficult to get the wrenches in and out of here, so that can become frustrating very quickly. But me, I always ditch the cases like this, and I just set them in my toolbox like I would set them up like a regular wrench. So I don't use these plastic cases. Looking at the packaging here, here's a part number 9550, and it is made by Apex Tools in Taiwan. Look at the actual tool itself, and the joint right here feels like very solid. It's not loose at all, and if it did become loose, I'm sure you could go ahead and tighten this up if you wanted. But other than that, it's just your basic combination wrench. You got your box side right here and your ratcheting side. The one I tend to use the most is actually the 10mm. Surprise, surprise, right? And I mean, just look how compact this thing is. This thing is just, it's amazing. You may not think you need a tool like this until it actually saves your butt one day. You know, there's plenty of examples where if you're using a standard length wrench, you get it on, say, the nut, right? And you're in a very tight spot, and you can only get that little bit of a turn each time. You will be there forever. But because of this, you could actually get in there and actually get almost a full rotation depending on how much space you have. If not, you could always use the ratcheting side, and it just makes quick work of those type of jobs. So this is another one of those tools that you may think is a waste of money, and I was actually debating whether I needed the flex head. Okay, so I was gonna get the set that is, you know, the box end and then the ratcheting end, but it did not have the flex, because the flex is obviously gonna run you more money, right? But I'm glad I went with the flex, because this right here, when you're in a tight place, just to be able to get these angles like that, it's just amazing. It makes a world of difference. So if you are looking for a set like this and you're trying to justify spending the extra money on the actual flex head, I say go for it. Other than that, it's a great tool. Everything feels nice and solid like you would expect from gear wrench. And like I said, okay, I'm not gonna bother with that. It's incredibly difficult to get that in. Alright, so the next tool is, no, it's not the air hammer. I've actually had this air hammer for quite some time. I can't remember the exact model. I think it's the 121. I'll see if I can find the exact model of this. But this little thing is an absolute beast. I love it. It's been holding up great. But the new tool that I have here is this one. It's actually a snap-on bit. See if I get this focus for you guys. It may be hard to read. It says snap-on right there. Okay, and the reason I picked up this is because I've been using a lot of these cheap wing bits that you could just buy off of eBay or Amazon, and I've already broken like 2 or 3 of these, and it's just cheaper quality, cheaper material, right? So that's why they keep breaking. I'll try to find some clips of that, because I did catch one of them on video when it actually broke. So this is your typical cheap Chinese part, and I've been using this non-stop since I got it, this snap-on unit. You could see it's taking a beating, right? I'm not going easy on this thing. And this little Ingersoll Rand, this thing has a lot of power for its size. It's not the strongest, but this thing definitely kicks some butt, okay? So this bit has been taking quite the abuse, and it has not broken as to what I expect from Snap-on, right? So it was quite expensive. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll see, and it was actually quite difficult to try to track this down, but I'll see if I can find you know, some links or information for you guys, anyone looking to purchase this. But I'll tell you right now, these cheap wing parts are just going to keep breaking on you. At the end of the day, you're going to end up spending more money having to keep replacing these than it costs to just go out and buy a good quality bit. So that's it for this. Let's move on to the next tool. Now this right here, I really don't have much information on it. I can't even remember the brand or anything like that. All I know is I got it off of Amazon. Okay, and if I remember correctly, it's like described as something for a motorcycle. Yeah, I think it's a motorcycle tool. Something for like pulling springs or honestly, I can't remember. I'm probably just making stuff up at this point. But the reason why I picked it up is for doing drum brakes. You know, when you're trying to pull those springs? Yeah, we all know what I'm talking about. So I figured I wanted to find a tool that had a very slim end like this with a hook on it, so I could grab the end of the spring, and then this end has a T handle so I could get a very good grip and pull the spring where I need it to go onto or off. Okay, so I found this, and honestly I forgot I had it. So as you can see, it looks pretty brand new, and that's because I haven't used it not once, even though I've been doing drum brakes. But I completely forgot I had the tool up until now that I'm looking for it to make a video on it. So I'm actually gonna try to keep this in mind the next time I have to do drum brakes, and let's see how well it holds up, or if the tip tends to want to bend. I don't know how good the quality is, but just a little neat tool. Sometimes you gotta think outside the box. Just because it's not made for cars doesn't mean you can't use it on a car, right? So with that being said, I'll keep you guys posted on this and see how well it works out for what I intend to use it for. And let's move on to the next tool. Alright, so next up we have some more gear wrench tools. Unfortunately, I do not have the actual like paper packaging, so there's like no model number or where it's made or any information like that. But I'm sure if we do some searching online, it won't be hard to find these. So it's a 3-piece set, and you can see they have like that double joint right there. So that's really nice. I always like this. I have another set of gear wrench tools that do this, but they're like the needle nose type, and they work great. That's how I wanted to get this this set that had the same exact design. And I find that I use these a lot more for like spark plugs, trying to remove the spark plug or the wired boot off of the spark plug. That's what they're really handy for. And occasionally removing like plastic connectors, like harness connectors, where you just come on the sides and squeeze the connector and pull it off. So it also helps for that once in a while. Other than that, they give you great reach. You can see how long they are. And it's obviously a 3-piece set. So this is the largest one. You'll get a medium size, and you can see they're quite dirty. Yes, I have been using them a lot. And there is a small size, which unfortunately I already broke it. So let's look right here. See that? You see the tip of it? Right there. And the reason it broke, it has nothing to do with the tool. It's actually my fault. I had a seized nut on something, and it was in a tight place I couldn't get to, so I reached behind there with these pliers to hold the nut, and on the front side I'd start hitting it with an impact gun. So what do you think was gonna happen? Right? The impact gun had so much power, and I had such a tight grip on the nut on the back side that it actually just snapped the tip of it right off. So that's unfortunate. It had nothing to do with the tool. I was basically abusing the tool and using it for something it wasn't intended for. But that sucks. It was a bad day for me. You know, I was really sad because I had just got the tool at that point. And I'm not really sure if I could find just this one by itself, because I would like to have a complete working set. You could probably tell with it like this is almost unusable. Like there's really nothing you can do with this. You know what I mean? So I want to see if I could find just this one alone, or do I have to buy another complete set? I don't know yet. I haven't really looked into it. Other than that, they are really great tools. It's just another one of those tools that you're not going to use them every day, but when you need them, you'll be glad that you have them. So pretty cool stuff here. And you know, the quality feels very nice. The joints nice and tight. It's what you would expect from gear wrench, you know. Oh, there actually is part numbers. Let's see. Oh, it does look like I could actually purchase this one individually because they have their own part numbers. Okay, so for example, the large one says 82019, and the small one, the one I broke, says 82017. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some research on this and see if I could buy this one. That would be pretty cool. Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and put these away and move on to the next tool. Alright, so next up we have a punch set. Let's go ahead and unroll this. As you can see, it comes like in this plastic roll right here. It's not the best, but it's better than nothing. This one is a Cal Hawk, as you can see the name brand right there, and the part number is CZPC18. It's a 18-piece set of steel and brass punches, and ranging all the way from these really tiny little guys, which if you abuse these in any way, I mean, if you look at them the wrong way, they are gonna break and bend. Alright, so you really got to be careful when using these really small ones. And then it goes up to a larger size like this, you know, which can obviously take more of an abuse. Now the reason why I bought these, oh, also let me include, it comes with a center punch, so that's pretty neat. Now the reason why I bought these is mainly for the brass section. You know, it's for things like removing the lock ring on a fuel pump where you don't want to create any sparks or anything like that. So you really don't want to be using something that's you know, steel like this that could potentially create a spark. So it's why I bought these. And then once I got the set in, I realized that the punches themselves are actually very small. Okay, you know, sometimes pictures online can be misleading, so I thought they were going to be a little bit larger, but no, they're actually pretty small. So I went on to, I believe, eBay and picked up this, again, like no name brand, but just another set of brass punches, and you could see how they're a little bit longer, and I'm more happy with this size right here. But sometimes you're going to need a small set of punches like this, you know, it's not always a one size fits all. So where, you know, in one place where you may be able to fit these, you may not be able to fit these, or vice versa, right? So it's just nice to have a different set or different sizes when it comes down to punches like this. And there really isn't much else to say about this stuff. It's just regular, simple, inexpensive punch set. So let's move on. Okay, so keeping up with the theme of punches, we have these right here. And also the theme of what seems to be the theme of this video is another tool that you may not think you need it until you actually need it, and it makes a world of difference. So I've been beating the snot out of these, okay, and they are just holding up like crazy. They have not snapped in half, they haven't bent or anything. I actually have one that I actually forgot inside of the packaging until right now. I just took it out. So you can see a clear difference of a brand new one compared to one that's been sitting in its package. Alright, and the brand, I'm probably going to butcher this, but Wildy. Now I actually picked this up from Menards. Alright, so if I get this, made in USA. Lifetime warranty. 5-piece set, and like I said, beating the snot out of them. The ones I've been using, which have been these right here, and they've been great. Now let's talk about suspension components, right? Like, let's just say you just installed a lower control arm and you're trying to get the bolt hose to line up. I've always used just like a screwdriver, right? Just jam a screwdriver inside of there and it helps you to align everything so you can put the bolt in it, and sure, it works. But until you start using a tapered tool like this, it is a night and day difference. It just works so much better than just using a screwdriver. So another one of those tools that you may not think you need it until you have it and you're like, why didn't I get this sooner? Up next we have some flare nut wrenches, okay? And got these off of eBay, and I don't even have any packaging information, so really like a no-name brand. And if you look at the actual tool itself, there's no name on it, it just says drop forged steel. Alright, so they're just cheap Chinese made parts that you could actually get off of eBay or Amazon. They're all over the place, right? And the reason why I picked these up is because this is my normal flare wrench tool right here. It's a gear wrench. Okay, it's got the flex head, which can be super neat sometimes, but other times it can be extremely frustrating. There we go. See that? Really frustrating when you're trying to use it in a place and this is what keeps happening. It just flops around everywhere. And sure, you could tighten up the screw, but you can only tighten it up so much before this little Allen head right there ends up stripping out. So eventually it's inevitable, it's going to end up like this, okay? And that becomes super frustrating. So I went out and bought this cheap set without a flex head, and you know, they're so inexpensive that if they break, just replace them. They're inexpensive, but really I can't see me breaking these, because what you use them for, there's no reason for high torque, you know what I mean? So I'm sure they're gonna last a very long time. I've been using them for quite some time without any problems at all. So it's actually a 6-piece set, as you can see. This side is metric, this side is standard. So it's 6 sizes for standard, 6 sizes for metric, because each wrench has 2 different sides on it. So you get a very wide range of sizes within these 6 wrenches. Like I said, I've been using them, no problems, and super frustrating. Next up, we have a set of VIM Tools, part number HCT 1050. Right there, made in Taiwan. Okay, so this is a stubby set, meaning they're not as long as like a standard set. They're gonna be half the size. That's why it's called half cut. So they're for really, really tight places. Here's the box, nice box here. And as you can see, it says sizes T10 through T50. So that's what you get here. Let's look at one of the pieces. Let's pull out this T50. And what I really like is that the information is actually stamped into the tool, as you can see right there. It's not laser etched or any of that other crap. The tool looks very nice. It's like what you would expect from VIM. If I get this to focus. Alright. Everything looks nicely finished inside of here. VIM always makes nice tools. I like their tools. And you can just already see how stubby this thing is. I mean, just look how short it is. I wish I had another one so I could compare it to, but this thing is literally like half the length of a regular one. Now, the thing about this is when I purchased these, I thought I was buying a 3/8 set, and then I get these in the mail and it turns out they're actually for 1/4 inch. So I was a bit disappointed, but I'm not upset because I know I'm gonna come across this one day where I won't be able to fit a 3/8 ratchet, but I can fit a 1/4 inch ratchet in a tight place, and that's where these are really gonna shine. Now here's another tool that I forgot about, so I'm throwing it in at the last second. It's a specialty tool for Mercedes ball joints. So if you own a Mercedes with this type of ball joint, you're gonna want to pick up this tool. This specific ball joint was pretty much a pain in the butt to get off, even with having the correct tool. As you can see right here, I'm using penetrating fluid, and this thing is smoking because I had to torch the heck out of it, and it still put up a fight. I would not want to do this job without this special tool, and I've done it before without this tool, and it was a nightmare. It took hours and hours, and it's not worth it. Get the correct tool. You can see this one is working great, so it's worth it. Alright, next up. Really? Sorry, someone is upstairs moving a chair around. Alright, so we have a tap and die set, okay? It's equivalent to the one you could get at Harbor Freight. I just happened to buy this one on eBay. It's a cheap kit, nothing really fancy about it. There's nothing special about it, okay? It's just like any other tap kit that you pray to God that you never have to use it, but when you do have to use it, it just really saves your butt. Okay. As far as quality, it's what you expect from inexpensive Chinese kit, you know, like something from Harbor Freight. So there isn't really too much to speak about these type of things. I mean, everything looks okay, right? So as you can see, it's on the larger side of the spectrum. Massive taps, massive dies. Look at this. Okay. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but typically tools like this, as long as you don't abuse them and use them correctly, they should last. Okay. My biggest problem with kits like this is I tend to lose the pieces. That's my biggest downfall with large kits like this that have so many pieces. Yeah, you know, I can't speak as far as how long they're gonna last me, because I don't know. Just one of those tools that collects dust forever until you need it. So let's move on to the next tool. Next up, we have a nylon fuel line repair kit from Dorman. Dum dum dum. I know it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, right? But this is the 800-300 kit. I don't know where it's made, but I'm sure it's made in China, so we're not even gonna look into that. The case itself seems pretty sturdy. I have not had a chance to use this yet. I bought it to work on a customer's car and they never brought the car over. Whatever. I'm sure I'll be able to use it someday, right? Now I know Erico at South Main Auto uses this tool and he says it works, so it's good enough for me. Now, this first compartment up here, you can see we have the main gun alongside a bunch of different fittings and adapters, and on top you get an image of the fittings alongside what looks like part numbers, which is pretty neat because you would imagine as you use the kit you want to be able to replenish your stock, right? So yeah, just a bunch of different fittings. Let's go into bottom section here, and it looks like we just have some instructions. You get some fill line, some cutters, and right here looks like we have some clamps. That's about it, guys. I'm running out of space on my memory card, so I have to cut this video short right here. Thankfully, this is the last tool. So I appreciate you guys sticking around what I think is going to be a long video. So if you stuck around this long, thank you, I appreciate it. If you're interested in any of these tools, there's a link down below on Amazon, so just go ahead and check that out. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching.